some of what we learned yesterday should be helpful. To find the vertex of a parabola, get the x value of the vertex by finding the what? What did we just say over there? Axis of symmetry. So use your axis of symmetry formula. Remember, x equals the opposite of b divided by 2a. So find that axis of symmetry, because we just talked about how we're going to be able to get our x value. Our x value is going to be the same value that all the x's are on that vertical line. And then we can get the y value of the vertex by substituting the x value of the vertex into the function. So as if we were going to make a whole table, but in reality we're just going to find one of the points of the graph. We're only going to have one x value in our table. And then we write the vertex as a what? As an ordered pair. It's a point. So we write it as an ordered pair. Whenever they ask you to identify, find, give the vertex, you give it as a point. It's an ordered pair on the graph. Okay? So, we are actually doing, check it out, top of page 534, and I believe, could somebody read what are the directions, what are we supposed to do in this, check it out, problem number 4. Find the vertex. Okay. We have 2 steps to finding it. First, let's find the axis of symmetry, because from that we can get our x value of the vertex. So, first thing we're going to do is decide, is it in standard form, first of all? Okay. Then we can identify our A and our B. Those are the ones we need to identify for our formula for the axis of symmetry. What's our A value? 1. And what's our B value? -4. If we change this to add the opposite, we would have a 1 for A and a -4 for B. Now we will substitute into our, this is write it down. Get used to making sure that we get that one memorized every time we write it down. That helps. Now let's substitute into it negative, and we put a -4 in for our B, and a 2 times 1 downstairs. So that negative sign is still up front. The B is a -4, and we have our 2 over 1. So x equals the opposite of -4 divided by 2. What is that? -2. So what is the opposite of -2? +2. So what did we actually just find again? What's this? It can play 2 roles. Yep, it's the x value of the vertex. But what else is it also? Yeah, we also found the axis of symmetry. So if they'd asked us for the axis of symmetry, we'd have that too right now. This has got, it's playing 2 roles. We just found x equals 2. There are two roles that's playing. It's telling us that the x value of the vertex is 2, and it's telling us that we have the vertical line x equals 2 as our axis of symmetry. Now we're going to find y. So we have to take our function, our quadratic function. I think I'll just put it in my add the opposite format and substitute in our x value that we got. And see what I get for y. I get y equals -14. What do you get? You think? Okay. We're on the same page there. Okay, and our goal was to find the vertex. Are we done? Close. Now we write it as an ordered pair. So we say our vertex is going to be 2, negative 14. Ordered pair 2, negative 14. You can count on that on the graph. This is where it would make its turn. Tell me something else about this parabola. Will it open up or will it open down? It'll open up, right? Because why? What's the reason again? Because positive A value. A is positive, so it's got to open up. Okay, does this have a minimum or a maximum then? Okay, because let's just say, I'll give us a little picture here. We have a graph. Remember, you just said it's going to open up. We just found the vertex. We say the vertex is 2, negative 14. Is it a minimum or a maximum? Minimum. This one would have a minimum, and what would the minimum be? 14. What's the minimum? Negative 14. It's just the y value, remember? Just the y value of the vertex gives us the minimum, the lowest y value. What's the domain of this one? All real numbers. What's its range? Y is greater than or equal to negative 14. All the stuff that we can now tell about this quadratic function. Okay, so anybody have any questions about that? 'Cause this is what you're doing in some of the homework. Well, all the homework really, but this is all you're doing for some of the problems, is finding the actual vertex. Jacob?
What is the axis of symmetry?
The axis of symmetry is an imaginary vertical line that divides the parabola into 2 symmetric halves. Okay? And it always passes through the vertex. So every point that have the same y value are equal distance from that line. Okay? Any other questions? Okay, then let's go to the back and let's do our application problem. Okay? First of all, I want you to look at problem number 5. It's at the bottom of the page, I believe, that same page we were on, 534. And I want you just to read that problem to yourself, first of all. Everyone. Check it out, problem number 5, bottom of page 534. Okay, what is it they're asking us to do? Without looking at the notes, I just want to know what, if you were doing this problem in your homework, what are they asking you to do? Courtney?
To find the greatest height on the rise.
Okay, to find the greatest height of the rise. Is this a roller coaster, if I remember right? Okay, so we know everybody familiar with the roller coasters? Anyone not have any idea what a roller coaster is? How many of you have actually been on a roller coaster? Okay, most of us have, okay. So roller coasters have a maximum and they have minimums, don't they? So there's lots of parabolic paths that go on in a roller coaster. And so there's lots of places where there would be maximums and there would be minimums. But we're just talking over a certain interval, aren't we? I think it's talking about what was it again? It said the height of a small rise in a roller coaster is modeled. So in other words, they're probably just talking about a certain section of this actual roller coaster. Okay, so here's the quadratic function. I just copied it down in our notes for us. Will you check to make sure I copied that down right? Because yesterday I didn't. Do I have the right quadratic function for that parabolic path? Yeah? Okay. Notice it doesn't have such pretty numbers, but that's okay. We can work with it. So to find the greatest height of the rise, we are looking for the maximum, aren't we? Because why would this one open down? How do we know it would open down? It's got an A value that is negative, doesn't it? So we know it's got to open down. And so that means it's going to have a maximum. So here's our roller coaster path, kind of like right here, I have it. To find the greatest height of the rise, we are looking for the maximum, or in other words, the what?
X.
The y value of the vertex. If we're looking for a maximum or a minimum, we have to find the y value of the vertex. Well, what do we have to find first, though, before we can find the y value? We have to find the x value, don't we? There is nothing, we don't have any magical way to get right to the y of a vertex, but but we know we can get there by finding the x first and then substituting it in. So we're just gonna do what we just did on the front side. So let's write down our function down here. Let's change it to a y. And we don't have any subtraction to change to add the opposite. And if we're gonna first find the x value, we have to identify the a and the b, don't we? So what's our a value? Not 007, isn't it just 700s? Negative 700s? Am I right? Okay. And our b value is 4200s. Okay. Some years I make my students say it correctly. I don't even let them say 0.42. We gotta know what that really is. Okay. Then we're going to substitute into our formula x equals the opposite of b divided by 2a. So go ahead and, yeah, you're probably going to most likely want, well, you know what? I think you can actually do this one without a calculator, but. So if you want to challenge yourself, that'd be awesome. And then tell me if you agree with me when you're all done. I get that the x value of the vertex would be 3. That what we just found? So now we need to find y, because y is going to give us our maximum, isn't it? It's going to give us our max. That's what we want. They want to know the height, the greatest height in this rise. So we're going to have to go back to our quadratic function, and we're going to substitute into it our x equals 3. So you go ahead and work and I'll work, and we'll see if we agree in the end. And we'll answer in a sentence. That's what we're looking for. Greatest height. Okay, so the greatest height of this rise is the greatest height of this rise, this particular section of the roller coaster, is what? 7 what? 7 feet. That's not very high, is it? This must be a child roller coaster. 7 feet, you know, you got people who are that tall. Okay. So anybody have questions about what we did here, and you're like, I'm not really sure that I understand, or? So when you're doing your application problems, I do today want you to end with answering the question in a sentence, labeling properly. Let's get back to making sure we still have the right sentences. Some of us haven't even figured it out yet, so we gotta still figure it out. Okay, anything at all?